And all, we are live on YouTube once again. Do get your comments in live to us. Glen de la Cour from the League One. I better shut myself down in that other window, otherwise there isn't an echo. But Glen, really good to speak to you at the League One -10 blog, everyone's favourite sweary blogger. We're live on YouTube, so please don't fucking swear.
I'll try not to swear. I'll try and keep my count below yours. If I do that, I'll win it.
Right. We'll try and get some people in the comments. Send us your questions, predictions, lineups, anything you want. Hopefully, we'll get some of you, and we'll put your some of the best comments on screen, and we will be, I guess, answering your questions. Right. Firstly, there's a drink in your hand, Glen. Tell us what it is.
It's very exciting. It's water. It's water, but the cup's interesting. It's England-Australia, the final test at the Oval in 2013, I believe, when we lost the game but won the Ashes.
Well, at least some happy memories from that test series. Sort of a damp squib in the end earlier in the summer. But for those at home interested in what I'm drinking right now, I picked up this organic beer from Sainsbury's. A bootleg booch. Ever heard of it? It's quite a bit too much ginger for my liking, too much Paul Scholes in the bottle. But there we go. Right, Glen, let's talk Tottenham first and foremost. Right, I mean, 2-1 in the end, I guess. Spurs 2, Saints 1. Let's start then, I guess, when the lineups were announced at 2 o'clock that Saturday afternoon. Cedric was injured. For those listening on the podcast, I'm raising my fingers up here like quotation marks. Vestergaard replaces him. Different shape it was. And then I guess, I think a lot of us were even speaking just before the game. We wanted sort of square pegs and square holes and round pegs, that sort of thing. But the formation, the shape was good at 2 o'clock. We had pieces that fit.
I didn't really get what was going on. I mean, I think Cedric genuinely was injured, as has been sort of borne out today by the press conference. He's not going to be playing on Sunday. But the decision to not put Jan Valery in and to try and be clever and change the shape and put Vestergaard in it just went wrong for all sorts of reasons. I worry about what it does to Jan Valery's confidence, not being considered a like-for-like replacement. I've already sort of like put this opinion out there that, last year Valery was the poster boy for the if you're good enough, we'll put you in. And we put Ralph put youngsters in, and in his case, he certainly proved he was good enough. So something's obviously gone on between now and the start of this season for Ralph not to think he's good enough. And the problem that caused was that it threw James Ward-Prowse under the bus, because he had to try and mark Son, who's one of the best wide players in the Premier League. He had to try and mark him, and Son went in dry, basically. It was just horrible from the first whistle. It was obvious that was going to happen. And Mr. Vestergaard, who is badly struggling at the moment, the good teams, when you play him away from home, they will exploit the fact that he is so slow. They will play the ball behind him on that left-hand channel and force him to turn and run at things. And his contribution to the second Spurs goal was horrible. Went up for the header with Kane. He's 6'6", didn't win it. He didn't clear Kane out either. Kane spun round and ended up scoring the goal. So it was just horrible, and that side of things backfired. So I don't know. Ralph was trying to be clever and change the formation, having seen the Tottenham team, but for me, it didn't really work.
I mean, it poses more questions than answers, really, isn't it? I mean, Cedric has since been pictured on Twitter with his leg in a sort of strap, if you like, that can only be cleanly described as almost like a blood pressure monitor, but I can leave it to your imagination to think of other things.
Yeah, I didn't realise it was this sort of show, to be honest. You can make up all sorts of stuff as to what he does in his spare time with his elastic sock. But I mean, it's been said it's a calf injury. It looks like it. I don't see why Cedric would be throwing a sickie, for want of a better phrase, because he's just got back in the team. He's playing reasonably well. He's coming off the back of the Portsmouth game, where everyone thinks he's a hero, sort of thing. So why do that? I think it's genuine. I think Ralph's comments about not really knowing what was going on. I think that's more to do with the build up to the game and all the things that must be going on in the changing room half an hour before the kickoff and whatnot. So
yeah,
no, I've got no belief in the conspiracy theories around that one. But I just think Ralph got it slightly wrong with the way he reacted to it.
and it is a bit of a shame, really. As you say, Cedric has sort of to pick up a bit of form, scored the goal down at Fratton Park, sort of a week or so ago as well. But I mean, what has Jan Valery said to upset Ralph recently? As you say, he was the breakthrough star of last season, can't get a sniff at the moment.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see whether he plays on Sunday, because if he doesn't, then we're gonna have either Ward-Prowse there, who's proven to be hopeless, and we're playing another good team in Chelsea. Or we're going to have Danzo over there, hopeless in the full-back position. It's just not his position. Or we're going to have some other player playing out of position. Maybe Yoshida will play over there. Who knows? But the obvious answer is to play Valery, and unless he's carrying a knock that no one's talking about. But then, if he's carrying a knock, why is he on the bench? I just really hope that come whenever kickoff is 2:00 on Sunday, that Valery is in the team. But as for what he's done and why he's fallen out of favour, who knows?
I mean, you could be said that Spurs were almost sort of they found out, obviously, Cedric will not be playing on Saturday's game after the warm-ups, and they targeted that right back position, didn't they? Sort of a handful of unsuccessful attempts before eventually it did happen. As you say, Son, I think what it is, he draws the defenders away, one of which was Vestergaard, you've got to say. He prods it across to Ndombele, who smashes it home. And what was your impression of Angus Gunn in the sticks at that point?
Sorry, I missed that. What was the...
What was your impression of Angus Gunn as the ball fired past him?
Oh no. No, it was horrible. Initially, before I saw the deflection, I thought he's done the exact opposite of making himself big. He's kind of curled up in a ball and done some sort of, he's just fallen over backwards, really. And the ball's only gone in about 3/4 of the way up the goal. So what the hell is that about? When you saw the second or third replay, you saw the very slight flick off of, I think it was Bednarek. But either way, I feel like he should have saved it. I feel like McCarthy would have saved that. He'd have stood up taller. It might have hit him in the face, but he would have saved it. And I also think that Fraser Forster would have saved that, because he wouldn't have reacted, and the ball would have just hit him. Which is the Fraser Forster guide to goalkeeping in his latter few months at Saints. Just stand there and be big and hope it hits you. So I don't think Gunn was impressive on that goal. Couldn't do anything about the second one. But I've not been particularly impressed with him this season. He's had the odd good game where he's kept a clean sheet when he didn't really have a great deal to do. I think the Man United game he played quite well, but he worries me. He still doesn't have the presence to be a first choice goalkeeper. And give him 2 or 3 years, and he'll be fine, I'm sure, if he keeps getting better. But at the moment, I have strongly felt for a long time that McCarthy should be our #1 goalkeeper. And after the game at Fratton Park, I know we've got to take into account the absolutely dreadful opposition, but he's still,
1-1.
Yes, sorry. He's still, at the end of the day, in goal, it doesn't matter who you're playing against. He pulled off 2 really good saves and just had this authority and calmness about him that I don't see from Angus Gunn.
I think a long way to go for Angus, and still, I guess, in his infancy as a goalkeeper. Still, how old is he? 22, 23 years old. So still a long way to go.
You can't be too harsh on him, but it's about winning games of Premier League football. So you don't play the youngster just because he's the youngster. He's got to be better than the more experienced guy that he's keeping out of the team. It's like the argument with, I don't know, Danzo and Yoshida, for example. You may say play Danzo because he's 20 and he's up and coming and we've got him on loan and whatnot. But at the moment, Yoshida's the better option. So even though he's 30 or 31, whatever he is, he's the one who deserves to play.
Mm. And Dancer was obviously brought in for a reason, but I guess we'll get to the team lineups in a moment. And great to see comments from, well, aptly named sort of Saints on YouTube on our comments just there. He wants to see Dancer in the centre of defence as well. But let's just keep it to Tottenham for just a moment, though. Just shortly after we go 1-0 down, we do pull one back, though. Danny Ings, once again, a tenacious sort of run, a burst, closing down the goalkeeper. A calamitous error, has to be said, by Hugo Lloris. A decision to Cruyff turn in his own 6-yard box. And this is the second goal of that sort of nature that Ings has scored this season. Lloris will be having nightmares.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to. He doesn't seem to learn, does he? I mean, he basically did it in the World Cup final, didn't he? You know, the biggest game of football you're ever going to play in, and he gave the ball straight to, I think it was Mandzukic, wasn't it, who scored? But I mean, what I took from Ings' goal was, yes, Lloris was an idiot, and doing a Cruyff turn just made him look absolutely stupid. But goalkeepers are encouraged to play that way these days. But what I took from it really was Danny Ings' movement. It was, you know, slow jog, then speeded up, then sprinted in, and Lloris was like totally caught out. And it's obviously he had a complete brain fart. I mean, I don't get it sometimes when goalkeepers get themselves into trouble. Just knock it off for a corner. It's better than losing the ball in front of your goal. You know, just tap it wide of the post or something, or do anything. But yeah, don't do a Cruyff turn. Memories of Artur Boruc at the Emirates doing that. Yeah, not good. But no, good goal for Danny Ings, and he deserved it.
Yeah, absolutely. And off the back of 2 goals down at Fratton Park, we'll never let him forget those. And I'm sure we won't ever forget them either as well. But, you know, at that time, we sort of get a bit of momentum in the game, didn't we? Sort of, and just shortly after that, it was a red card to Aurier. No protest for his first offence, clattering straight through the winger, I think it was. And Spurs might have felt a little bit hard done by, as they were protesting, as the ball sort of appeared to maybe have gone out of play. But it's the age-old sort of saying, isn't it? You know, play to the whistle. But, you know, Bertrand was quite smart there. Maybe it went down a little bit too softly.
Yeah, I'd say he went down a little bit. He felt the contact and went down, didn't he? You'd be fuming if another player did that to us, but we're doing it, so it's all right, I guess. We're all massive Brits when it comes to that. I mean, but I was thinking the other day, I was watching Man United be dreadful on TV the other day, and do you remember the game up at Old Trafford last year where Bertrand got the wrong side of Ashley Young twice? Young twice clearly pulled him back. Bertrand went down, didn't get given anything. So yeah, it did put me in mind in that, and I was surprised that the card came out for that. I thought they'd find a way. I thought the referee would find a way somehow to not give the second yellow. But at the end of the day, Aurier is an idiot. He is. Yeah, I mean, there's been some footage of him in the game they lost 7-2 to Bayern Munich. It's one of those ones where he looks like he's trying to jump over the player, but he kind of makes sure that he lands on him 2-footed. It's just ridiculous. He's a total loose cannon, and I don't know what he's doing playing for what is one of the more decent clubs in the Premier League. He's just not got the mentality to do it. I don't understand it at all. So he's an idiot, and basically, if he hadn't got sent off for that incident, he'd got sent off for something else 5 minutes later. He was going on Saturday, whenever it was. And,
I mean, at that point as well, you got to say we had to take our advantage. We, obviously with a numerical advantage, we didn't take it for the rest of the field. Just shortly after red card, Spurs eventually get the ball back in our defence. Our defenders are at 6s and 7s. It falls to Kane of all people. You can't leave that much time and space for him to fire at home.
No, as I mentioned earlier, Vestergaard should have won a header in midfield, and he didn't get off the ground because he's too big. Got beaten by Kane. I think it went to Eriksen and then to Son. The cross came in, and Kane's in the middle, unmarked. We're not good at the kind of scramble defense, which is not good at it. We don't pick up players. We sort of funnel back, but we don't really do the things you have to do. If you mark the players, they can't score, and we don't seem to do that. And we get bodies back, but the guy was clever enough to find himself some space and scored easily, and that turned out to be the winner. And you could tell that was going to make it make the second half very difficult, even though we would have a man advantage.
Yeah, and for all our possession that second half, dominating every statistic, apart from the one that matters ultimately.
Yeah, well, statistics don't mean anything, do they? I mean, Spurs didn't need to attack, and they didn't bother attacking, really. The odd break they put together, they were content to let us have the ball. And, Ralph didn't have a great time with the substitutions either. They should have been made a lot earlier. I mean, we had 3 centre-backs on the pitch and Romeu. And let's face it, none of them are going to score or play a defence splitting pass or anything like that. So it was comfortable for Spurs. They just, let those 4 have the ball, didn't even bother marking them. Marked the dangerous players like Buffal and Redmond, and they must have been, as a Spurs fan in the ground, you must have been quite confident that Saints were not going to score. We created 2 opportunities from a set pieces, from a corner and a free kick, and that was it. So from open play, we've created nothing in 60 minutes or whatever it was against 10 men.
Yeah. Disappointing once again, not taking our chances too. Hello, Lemon Plays, who has been commenting on the YouTube thing. There you are. There is your comment on screen. Hello, Lemon Plays. Good to see you again. You were here for the last live show as well. Good to see you once again. But we better get on to Chelsea then, Glenn. Just sort of brush the Tottenham game under the carpet a little bit. And Chelsea, they come to St. Mary's. And I mean, we haven't won at home this season. At what point do we start to worry about that sort of form?
When we play a couple more of the non-top 6 sides and we still haven't won. I think we're capable of winning this game on Sunday. We do need to get a point, but at the end of the day, like the Spurs game, if we get beat, it will be a defeat against a team that we know is going to finish above us, and it won't be a season-defining thing. If we play Newcastle at home and get beat, or don't win, then it's a different story. Chelsea, after a dodgy opening couple of weeks, they are looking like a team that is, going to be very close to the top 4. They're looking better nick than Tottenham and then better nick than Man United. They'll be challenging. They're not as good as the big 2. We know that, but they're looking a good bet for sort of like 3rd or 4th place. So they're going to be a good side on Sunday, and it's fair play to Lampard. He's changed quite a few of the players, and they're beginning to gel together well.
Yeah, I mean, at the start of the season, you would have said this is probably the best chance for a team to break into the top 6. You've got 2 vastly inexperienced managers in Frank Lampard, who's only had that senior position with Derby County last season, and obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at Man United as well. But Frank Lampard, he has brought sort of a fresh impetus to the Chelsea side this season, and all in part, I guess, to their transfer embargo. No other choice but to field their younger side.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, a lot's been made of this transfer embargo, but they still flouted it as much as they possibly could, and as soon as they possibly could, when it turns out that they could sign Kovacic, who they had on loan last year. So when they say we're playing all the young players, yes and no. I think what's been impressive is that a lot of the players that they had out on loan, like Mason Mount and Tammy Abraham. I've seen Abraham play for Villa and for Swansea, and I never thought he was. I never thought he was going to, make it at Chelsea. But fair play to him. He stuck him in the team, and he scored 6 or 7 goals already. And you can't help but admire that. And that's the difference between Chelsea and Man United. Chelsea can bring in players like Abraham, Mason Mount, Tomori, and they're decent. I always used to hate the fact that Chelsea had 65 players out on loan or whatever it was, but these players look ready to play in the Premier League, whereas your Man Uniteds of this world are putting on kids like, what's his name?
Greenwood.
And Greenwood, and they still look like kids. They look like they're ready to have an impact at the top end of the Premier League. But from what I've seen of Chelsea so far, which is not a lot, he seems to be sort of blending that team together really well with a good mix of what they had before. And don't forget, Hazard was at times, and especially against us, was a one-man team. He always scored against us. He was always brilliant against us. And, he's gone, and they've managed to sort of like find a way of of winning games now without him. So fair play to him. And of course,
Yeah, I mean,
Giroud's not playing. He always scores against us as well. So yeah, maybe we will get something.
well, there's two players that scored, I think, in the 3-0 defeat last season, Hazard and Giroud. As I say, Giroud always finds a way of scoring against us. Where has he gone now? I don't care. But a pantomime figure, we will be booing, hissing, throwing tomatoes, all sorts of things at Mason Mount, a lad that's born down the road to Portsmouth in a PO postcode. What have you made of him so far? And what sort of stick will you be giving him on Sunday?
Me, to be honest, I didn't know he was from Portsmouth until someone pointed it out about a week ago. No, I can't be bothered with all that. unless he comes out pre-match and gives it the big one. But I don't think he's going to do that. He looks like a very good player, and he seems to be one of those ones that's earmarked for. He's obviously going to be fast tracked into the England side.
Well, he has been, hasn't he? He's been called up once again this week
already. Whilst I don't agree with a player who's only played 4 or 5 games or whatever, in the Premier League being fast tracked to the England side, he's obviously got something about him. He looks like a good player. He looks very slight, so I do wonder if physically he could struggle a bit if someone really marks him closely, shall we say? But not too much of that goes on these days. It's not like the good old days when people got kicked up in the air.
Well, let's hope the pitbull Romeo has got his number on Sunday.
Yeah, hopefully someone manages to rattle him a little bit. But he's good, and he's coming into a side. He's in midfield. He's got Kovacic next to him. He's got Kante, Jorginho. These are good players. So the pressure's probably not, the pressure's not on him to run the game, sort of thing. So he's got others he can rely on if he's not quite on it. So no, I think he's going to do well, and the fact he's from Portsmouth is unfortunate.
Well, I mean, look, Chelsea, they have been somewhat inconsistent this season as well. I mean, especially that start, but they have, as you said, they've sort of kicked on since then, but scored 5 away from home at Wolverhampton a couple of weeks ago. So maybe something to fear there in their inconsistency. But we've got to try and take advantage of this situation with our home support. How do we do that?
I think there'll be we talk about the round pegs and round holes. I think a lot of people will be on a bit of a downer if we turn up and we've got Ward-Prowse playing it right back again. I'd say so. It would help to have. I know they're rubbish. I've said this before, but when we saw the lineup for the game against Portsmouth, you just saw great 4-3-3. You can tell where everyone's going to play. And we actually looked like an organised team. For the first time this season, we actually looked like a properly organised team. And to be honest, after a whole pre-season with Ralph, this is what I expected. I expected everyone to know their role and look, and for the team to look decent. And we haven't really done it until we got going in the game against Portsmouth. And I was hoping that was going to be the end of the bizarre George Burley when he's been drinking experimentation that we were seeing. So, the right players in the right positions would be good. Whether we play, I hope we play 4 at the back. I don't, because we play 5 at the back. That means Vestergaard's going to play again, and he struggles if the game gets strung out at all because of his lack of pace. So, I hope they go back for Bertrand, Valerie, Yoshida, Bednarek, and just, normal 3 in midfield and then 3 strikers. So I think picking the right team or picking what on paper is a sensible team will go a long way. And we got to start a bit quicker. We've been a bit slow in a majority of games this season. It'd be nice to get an early goal, wouldn't it?
Well, I think the Tottenham game was the first time we've scored in the first half this season.
Yeah, and we needed the goalkeeper playing silly buggers to do that. So, we do need to get on the front foot early. And Ward-Prowse is massively important in this game because of Chelsea do have a weakness on set pieces. That's been highlighted already. I don't know if you saw the Liverpool game and Firmino had a free header from 5 yards. It's that sort of thing. Tomori, the new lad, I don't he's very quick. I don't think he's the biggest. So they're not dominant in the air. I mean, he used to be against Chelsea when John Terry was playing. You might as well not even bother crossing the free kick because you knew he was going to get his head on it. So we can't have corners hitting the first man or just picking out the goalkeeper with crosses. We've got to be, that's going to be a major area for us to have a chance of getting something out of this game.
Set pieces are key, I think, and we know the quality of Ward-Prowse's deliveries, but again, it is a case of sort of always hitting the first man as well. But I mean, I spoke to a Chelsea fan earlier this week for a radio show. Actually, for those that are listening and watching along on the YouTube now, you can tune in tomorrow morning on Voice FM 103.9, where we sort of talk to a Chelsea fan, and he's highlighted some weaknesses actually for Chelsea. Depending on what shape they sort of line up with on Sunday, he could say that Marcos Alonso, the left back, he's not a left wing back. In fact, he's not a left back. He's a left wing back. That is the area that we should be highlighting and targeting, especially with the pace and skill from Boufal or Redmond.
Yeah. Now, again, this is where we have to pick the right player to play against him. Because if he plays Ward-Prowse, if he plays his 4-2-2-2 formation, plays Ward-Prowse on the right, that's not going to take advantage of the fact that Alonso is not a great defender. You probably need your quickest player over there, so that's probably Nathan Redmond. Get him playing that right-hand side. Alonso is not a defender. He's very good going forward, but he's not a defender. So you have to look for that space behind him. It's a bit like when we play, we had that game at Sheffield and we played Gineppo at left back. As soon as Sheffield United realised that, hang on, this guy's a winger, he's not a fullback, they just kept playing the ball into the channel behind him. And, we have to look to do that with Alonso. I mean, he's not totally naive defensively, but he's got a mistake in him. And I still can't get over that game. Was it last year when he stamped on Shane Long, or the year after?
I remember that was nasty. Yeah.
He's got a bit about him, a bit of a nasty character as well. So I know their other left back is injured, so Alonso is going to be playing. So we do have to take advantage of that.
Well, there's a comment here actually from Saints once again. I think we need to be a bit more selfish in the approach going forward. So, and I think what it is as well, we need to highlight that we've had all this possession at Tottenham, last weekend, but we didn't sort of be clinical enough in that final third of the pitch, and we've got to take more risks and take more shots. That's how we're going to score more goals.
Yeah, it worries me slightly about our attacking play. We're very focused on winning the ball off the opposition and high up, and then getting a shot away within 5 seconds or whatever. That seems to be our game plan. We don't seem to have any sort of plan when you get a situation where we've actually got possession in our own half, sort of like building through the lines and getting the ball to the forward so they can get shots off. We don't seem to be terribly good at that. But you do need to buy tickets to win raffles, so we do need to have a few shots from decent positions. But I don't see us passing up too many opportunities to shoot. But what I do see is sometimes a kind of cluelessness about our attacking play where we get to 25 yards out and then just don't know what to do.
And actually, good comment here from Tam once again, joining us on the live stream. We should not try to score the perfect goal. Try to shoot and test the goalkeeper with long shots, as we're sort of saying. Get your shot away. There's no harm in trying. Who knows that we might even get a Massimo Taibi episode once again. Mami and Bahas all those years ago.
Yeah, you got to be.
No, sorry, it was Matt Letizia, wasn't it? Not Marion Pahars.
Yeah. But, you got to be sensible with your long shots. I mean, if you remember, was it last year? Gabbiadini tried a couple from halfway near the gas holders, and it was just ridiculous. He was trying from 50 yards. And, that's Rose there. That's no good. But and what was the last home game where Ward-Prowse had 3 shots on the edge of the box that fly over the bar? So you practice that in training, get the damn thing on target. It's just there's a bit of a lack of conviction with our shooting sometimes. It's like they don't expect to score, and then they hit it too hard and it flies over the bar. And it's it's something that you would think could be easily enough fixed in training, but we shall see.
I think Prowsey'd probably been watching too much of the Rugby World Cup that week. But good to see John as well joining us from Queensland at 6 o'clock in the morning. Hope you're enjoying your coffee or whatever you're having with it. It is, well, it'd be Saturday morning down there, wouldn't it? So good, but good to see you on the stream. All right, but we'll be wrapping up then in just a moment's time. Glenn, you've sort of teased us mostly with your lineup, but just finish it off with the three up front. You've named sort of Gunn in goal. What would you say? Valerie.
No,
Are you going McCarthy? Okay.
Yeah, I'll go McCarthy in goal if he's fit. Yoshida and Bednarek, Bertrand and Valerie, obviously. Højbjerg, Romeo, Ward-Prowse in midfield. Three up top, I'd go Danny Ings, Redmond on the right, Buffal on the left, Che Adams on the bench. I don't get the logic of him not even being on the bench last week, but
what have you made of that then this week? Ralph has said that he was sort of due a rest, but he's a young lad. You know, he can play twice a week.
Yeah, due a rest. I think he needed a break. I think it was all getting a bit too much for him. So, but to me, if a striker sits on the bench for 70 minutes, he's got 20 minutes against tiring defenders when he's fully fresh. That to me is what Adams needs to do for a little bit, is to be a substitute, come on somewhere in the last half an hour and try and make an impact in exactly the same way that Obafemi and Shane Long didn't last week. So yeah, I think I see that role for Che Adams this week, but hopefully the three up front will cause enough problems for Chelsea that we won't need him.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Let's wrap it up then with score predictions. Tell us your score predictions in the comments before we go. I'm going to kick things off then. Obviously, I think Chelsea are coming to St Mary's as a little favourites. So they're scoring lots of goals for fun recently as well. And I think but to be honest, having said that, I think it'd be a lot closer than many people will think. So I will go for, do you know what? I'll take a point here, 1-1.
Yeah, I've already lodged a prediction somewhere else. I'm going to go. I'll repeat that and go for 2-2. I think there's going to be goals. Their strengths are in attack, and their weaknesses are in defence. I mean, I happen to think we're a lot better going forward, and we have the calamities at the back. So I think it will be. It wouldn't surprise me if it's a 2-2 draw, but it also wouldn't surprise me if I'm completely wrong, because I'm absolutely rubbish at predicting.
Aren't we all? But there's a comment here from Saints 2-2. Thickly Spread has said 1-0 to Chelsea. Unfortunately, Dean has said 2-1 with a late Adams winner, and I think that's exactly what Shea needs to kick on. A late Adams winner will be exactly what he needs to just sort of kick on with his Saints career as well. But before we go then, Glenn, we love your sweary, irreverent blog. Just a reminder how we can catch up. You are now sort of a regular panelist on the Total Saints podcast.
Yeah, I'm turning into a podcast whore. Whoever offers me the most money. No one's offered any yet at all. So you're all drawing. It's 0 pence. But no, So I appear on the Total Saints podcast. They've got 3 people in the lineup: Steve Grant, Adam Leach, and Lucy Hynett. And if they're available, I don't get called up. I'm like Wesley Hoyt, really. The first choice is available, then I'm sent on loan to Antwerp or somewhere. But so I'm on there occasionally, and the blog itself, League 1 -10. Just Google that, and you'll find that. I spout a load of rubbish on Twitter as well. Always a pleasure to be on here, young sir.
Great stuff. And really, thanks a lot for everybody in the comments this evening. And do tune in Saturday morning tomorrow. We'll be on Voice FM Radio 103.9, or just check it out on TuneIn Radio around the world to wake up with a pre-match predictions and etc. But Glenn, great stuff. Good to speak to you. And thanks for joining us, one and all.